From a super impressive 10-fight win streak to demolishing Kamaru Usman with a devastating head kick KO, fighters have a whole bunch of reasons to be afraid of Leon "Rocky" Edwards, like his incredibly effective fighting style. Leon is a true mixed martial artist and can probably be described as a jack of all trades but a master of none. But don't let this fool you into thinking that he isn't just as deadly as some of the more specialized fighters in the game. Sure, Leon may not be able to dominate his opponents in any one domain of the sport, but that hasn't stopped him from being able to win fights. Yup, guys like Usman and Khabib are specialists. They're amazing at one thing, in this case wrestling, and no matter how their fights are going, everyone knows that if the fight goes to the mat, it's all over. As I said though, Leon's style isn't like that. He's much more well-rounded. He's not unstoppable in any one aspect of the game. But guys, he's definitely not got many holes in his style either. The man has all his bases covered, and while he may not be an unstoppable juggernaut like Usman and Khabib were, he is a true master. Rocky's able to do it all: striking, wrestling, takedown defense, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, you name it, he's got it. His well-rounded style ties all of these skills together, but I've gotta dive deeper into each one, starting with his incredibly accurate striking. As I said, Leon's not really a specialist, but if there's one thing he really excels at, it's striking. The man is a natural, and not just because of his ability to punch and kick, but because of how he moves and uses distance. Now, I get that this may not technically be striking itself, but part of why his striking is so good is because of his amazing use of distance. Rocky stays on the outside and methodically tests the reactions of his opponents with feints and jabs, and then he starts following up that deadly jab with some powerful crosses. This man has some intense strength behind his strikes, and somehow, even though most of his fights have been decision wins, he's always able to outstrike his opponents and land more accurately. Now, this doesn't mean Leon's some genius striker. It actually reflects something far more terrifying. The man's put in so much work that there are almost no holes in his striking game. Plus, he has a whole array of deadly weapons. I've already mentioned his probing jab and the powerful cross that follows it, but Leon's also able to throw some deadly uppercuts and nasty kicks. I mean, just look at what he did to Usman. Still, a lot of fighters have similar weapons in their arsenal, so what makes Rocky different? Well, part of it is that his style is a unique blend of boxing and Muay Thai, and that Muay Thai base really shows in all of this man's fights. I mean, he's merciless with those straight shots he throws from outside range. Plus, the combination of kickboxing and Muay Thai allows him to throw his deadly and almost perfect kicks. Now, despite the Muay Thai base, Leon seems to favor a southpaw stance, but as I said before, he is a true mixed martial artist. He's not extremely boxing oriented like other southpaws. Instead, he makes equal use of his kicks and relies heavily on his jab, and that annoying jab is actually something he has in common with Usman. It may not seem like it, but that jab is one of the deadliest weapons in the game. I've already mentioned how Leon uses it to gauge the reactions of his opponents, but it also allows him to distract them and set them up. Yep, exactly like how he set up Kamaru for the head kick that ended his championship reign. Okay, so at this point, we've established that the Brit is a terrifying guy because of his unique striking, but that's not all he can do. Over the years, he's developed some pretty solid wrestling and takedown defense. And honestly, I know I keep bringing up Usman, but that man was the pound-for-pound #1 fighter for a long time, and he was also the welterweight champ. Plus, he was known for his invincible wrestling. Figure out where I'm going with this yet? Well, the Nigerian Nightmare fought Leon once before he claimed the welterweight title, and it was a blowout victory for Usman. I mean, the man just dominated Edwards and repeatedly took him to the ground. Now, considering that I started off talking about how Leon developed wrestling skills and a solid takedown defense, I think we've spent enough time talking about his loss to Usman, because ever since that loss, Rocky has gone to work on the mats and hasn't been dominated by any other wrestler, and that includes Usman himself. Yup, in that second fight where Leon won the title, he became the first guy to take Kamaru down. That is a huge improvement.
That is not the cloth from which he is cut. I mean, that is a dejected...
Then in the rematch title fight, Leon not only outstruck Kamaru, but he also stopped 11 of his 15 takedown attempts. Think about how crazy that is. He stopped the Nigerian Nightmare 11 times out of 15. But this isn't the end of what makes Rocky a terrifying fighter. Nope, he's also got some incredible natural gifts that tie everything together. And honestly, this man's on some John Jones level advantages. He's 6 foot tall with a perfect frame for his style, and his reach is pretty long too, so he's usually the bigger guy when he fights. But that's not all. He's also got an amazing fight IQ, and I've already gone over how that makes him deadly. Still, despite all of this, Rocky has had a huge number of haters and disbelievers since the beginning of his career. And yet, no matter how much he was undervalued and wrongly rated, his opponents always had something they could see and be afraid of. His incredible record, of course. So, whether or not an opponent rates Leon highly, the man's record speaks for itself. He's beaten everyone that's been put in front of him, and he's done it convincingly. I mean, the man's currently sitting on an 11-fight win streak, for crying out loud. Okay, technically we do have to consider that one no contest against Bilal, but even despite that, Leon still won 11 of his last 12 fights, and the only one he didn't win was that no contest. Also, those 11 wins were all impressive. I mean, he's beaten everyone from Gunnar Nelson and Cowboy Cerrone to the legendary Nate Diaz and even Rafael dos Anjos. And those are all names other than the biggest one that he's got on his record, the Nigerian Nightmare. No one thought it was possible to beat Kamaru.
Defending the takedowns for the most part, winning those battles.
At one point in the fight, Usman was minus 250.
And the top welterweights including Colby, Burns, and Masvidal all tried and failed multiple times to defeat him. Yet Leon was able to not only defeat the guy, but he did it twice. And the first time was via the greatest KO I've ever seen. Now, at this point, no fighter denies Leon's greatness. In fact, there's one more thing about him that they all fear now that they acknowledge him, and that is his unbreakable mindset. At this point in his career, the scariest thing about this guy is his mindset. He simply doesn't know when to quit. I mean, just look at how the UFC treated him. He was on a long and successful winning streak, and he kept getting passed up for title fights. But he kept going, and he kept winning, till Dana White had no choice but to give him the title shot. Plus, just look at what he did in the first title fight against Usman. He was losing, and he was down to the last minute of the last round. Rather than giving up, the man kept going, and set up the most beautiful KO ever. And hey, even Kamaru was clearly afraid in that rematch. Yep, he wasn't as eager to strike, because there's just no telling with Leon. Nothing can break his will.
See some blood. Yep. Oh boy. Nice elbow there from Leon.
A lot of blood now.
Yeah, that scar's opened up.
Leon's cutting him open.
Well, there you have it. Those were the reasons fighters are afraid of Leon Edwards. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.